Another savage has been jailed, entering Ireland after just some few days and committing a heinous sex attack on a young girl in a hotel, coming from the UK where he had multiple previous convictions for sexual offences. But of course, remember the line that you've been fed, that no one gets into Ireland unless they've been vetted. That's a line that came not only from An Garda Síochána, the guardians of the peace, but also from the Irish government. Well, this case in particular that I'm about to get into right now has even attracted the attention of some TDs who are asking the question that we've been asking for a long time: how is this allowed to happen? And be under no illusion that any of these crimes that are reported on and these victims, the blame lies squarely at the feet of the Irish government in the first instance for allowing these animals to enter into the country and do whatever they want to do. So before I get into it, big thanks to everyone that has subscribed to this channel and those who have joined the channel. If you haven't already done so, please consider doing so. Support independent media. And without any further ado, let's get into this case. I want to actually start, and I'm going to show this screenshot. If you haven't got this screenshot, find it. Show it to people that question, call you far right, call you an extremist. This is the lie right here. And this is a screenshot that I'm sure you've seen me using in many other videos, but it applies to all of these cases because on the 30th of December last year, the statement was made and published by the mainstream media, by RTE nonetheless: no such thing as an unvetted migrant to Ireland. Detective Chief Superintendent Aidan Minnock said everyone coming to Ireland seeking international protection is fingerprinted and identified. Well, that vetting should apply to anyone entering the country, period. You need to know who's coming off the planes and off the boats and off the buses and off the trains into Dublin to find out who they are. The head of the Garda National Immigration Bureau has said there's no such thing as an unvetted migrant to this country. And everyone coming to Ireland seeking international protection is fingerprinted and identified. This should be the norm for everybody entering the country. Period. Shouldn't be allowed access to a country if you have a previous criminal record. You should be at least held, questioned, whatever. That's not the case, especially in this one that we're about to bring up. So before we get into the details of the case, this is a call from Matt Carthy, Sinn Féin TD. We need an investigation into how a convicted rapist banned from Britain as a result of convictions there came to be in Ireland to carry out another heinous crime. This is coming from a Sinn Féin TD. It's not like there hasn't been thousands of people calling for the same thing for a very, very long time. Why did it have to get to this point before someone actually speaks up? Huge respect to the bravery of the victim in the case, who was only 18 years old at the time. So that's a post Matt Carthy put up on the social media, and it was jumped on, and rightly so, by people that were commenting. Christian Morris here, he said he came in because you support open borders and letting people from societies with endemic rape cultures into our country. You are literally his cheerleader. And big respect to Christian Morris for telling it like it is. Another person has put up a newspaper clipping with Norma Foley, hand held high. Everyone is vetted. Everyone is vetted. Minister defends the process despite victim of Dublin stabbing being charged with rape in Italy, and that has to do with that Nigerian accused rapist who was deported or fled from Italy, came to Ireland and got stabbed to death by another group of savages in Dublin around about a month ago. But remember, Norma Foley said everyone is vetted, and Detective Chief Superintendent Aidan Minnock said everyone is vetted. So of course, if the government says that the people being allowed into Ireland, period, are vetted and they've all been checked, well, sure, that must give you some kind of reassurance. Ordinary Irish people have been pointing this out for years. Don't for 1 minute believe you and your colleagues in the Dáil did not know what was happening. The government are to blame, but you as the opposition should have held them to account. We've been let down. Chris McCormick said, you and your party of traitors are just as responsible for this mess as the other rats in Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. Close the borders and stop talking SH1TE. Nicola says, oh no, Matt, you're not going to get all racist now, are you? Tell that to your refugees welcome boss, referring no doubt to Mary Lou MacDonald. And Ken Lido says the pennies are dropping. Listen, the government knows. They know exactly what they're doing. And this is the case in point. Man jailed for 10 years over rape of woman at holiday complex. A convicted rapist who had only been in Ireland for a few days before he raped, sexually assaulted and falsely imprisoned a young woman, has been jailed for 10 years. 41-year-old Randi Gladstone, formerly from Guyana, was found guilty by a Central Criminal Court jury earlier this year of 1 count of rape, 3 counts of sexual assault, and 1 count of false imprisonment at a holiday complex in County Dublin in August of 2023. So came from Guyana in Ireland for a few days and committed this heinous attack. I cannot ignore the defendant's appalling previous convictions, said the judge. Judge McGrath noted that Gladstone has no mitigating factors except that he's a foreign national serving time in an Irish prison. Well, too bad. That should not be a mitigating factor either. The fact that he might have it difficult because he doesn't speak English or he's from a different culture and he's locked in an Irish prison. Too bad. If he didn't rape Irish women, then he wouldn't have this issue to begin with. A 10-year prison sentence was handed down. Said there's no reason to consider suspending it. Well, that's just common sense. When a judge does common sense these days, people applaud it. It's common sense. I was impressed in the manner which the young woman gave evidence on how she and her family approached the case. Detective Garda Carol Corrigan told senior counsel Patrick Gagby that the victim, who was 18 at the time, had been staying in accommodation for several days prior to the assault. This savage, I'm not going to get into the details of it, but suffice to say that she was lured into this savage's hotel room where he abused her. He raped her. She was terrified. She was completely terrified. And then she told her mother after the attack, when she was released from the room, she ran to her own room, took a shower in the dark, then called her mum and told her what happened. The mother was extremely angry and confronted Gladstone, who denied everything. Short time later, the young woman and her family visited St. Vincent's Hospital. 30 minutes after the family left, Gladstone appeared at the reception of this Dublin holiday complex. How the hell did he get access to this Dublin complex in the first place? What was he doing there? You wouldn't believe he was taking a holiday in Dublin after being refused entry or booted out of the UK. Gladstone was arrested a short time later. He denied everything. A victim impact statement was read to the court by the victim's brother, which described the profound impacts this has had on my life, my family, and my future. Emotional stress, nightmares, depression, and anger. These savages don't just destroy one person's life, physically and mentally destroy them, but the families are impacted as well. This young girl had family, brother, mother, father. You know, every instance that we read about, there's not just one victim in this, multiple victims. Check this out. This savage has 19 previous convictions from the UK. 19, including rape, kidnapping, robbery, and false imprisonment. 19 previous convictions. Passing sentence, Justice Patrick McGrath said the offending has a profound impact on the young woman and her family. Well, we know that. Significant emotional distress, nervous and anxious when out. He agreed with the public prosecutor this falls in the 10 to 15 year sentencing category and said Gladstone preyed on this woman. It's very serious. Said that it was cunning. You know, although it falls into the 10 to 15 year category, he still didn't give him the full whack. He could have given him 15 years, but he didn't. The statement concluded with the young woman saying she was grateful for justice and expressed her gratitude to the judge, jury, legal team, and Gardaí. Fair enough. But the government got off the hook again. The DPP placed this in the 10 to 15 year bracket. Defending said the previous convictions for rape in the UK are from the same case and date back to 2001. Counsel said his client is a foreign national and serving time in an Irish prison would be difficult. Well, too bad. He said, I respectfully say this falls below the 10-year level. So again, we have defence counsel trying to get scum like this reduced sentences, easier time, release them back into society. What would happen? What would happen if he gets released? Will he stay in Ireland? Will he be given accommodation? He's going to be capped at the taxpayer's expense for at least the next 10 years. Maybe he'll be out after 5 if he's a good boy in prison. To do what? Go back to another holiday complex somewhere? Anyone entering a country, whether they be a migrant, whether they be a refugee, whether they be travelling from another country, just visiting, it doesn't matter. You should not be allowed into any country. You should be flagged up before you are allowed. Well, you shouldn't be allowed in, period. But this is the case that we have at the minute. It's like a chicken wire fence and mosquitoes are flying through it. Useless. Just talk by the government. Just talk. Nothing's actually being done, but now questions are starting to be asked because they can't hide this any longer. Share this content with people. People need to know. Cut and paste the link, dump it into a Facebook group, share it. I don't know what social media platforms you use, but do it. Get the word out there. Let people know what's going on. And if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to this channel. Join the channel. Show some love. Support independent media. For now, I'm Rick Munn. No risk, no reward. Over and out.